Welcome back, everyone. Right now, we are joined by two familiar faces, at least very, very familiar to me. I see these guys all the time. Good, amazing friends. Kim Meltzer, Jamie Oakley in the house. Also, past event icons, past IMEX live stream attendees. I just feel like I see you guys all the time, but they don't. And I think that's the important thing because you guys are the masters of esports.
Masters.
Ooh, I like that.
Which I've been told as well by Kim, don't call it e-gaming because that's gambling.
Bad.
Very bad. So esports is what it is called. But I feel like planners today are so excited about esports. They want to know so much about it. And they feel like it's this other world, you would call it. Well, what's interesting is as IMEX is going on right now, the esports summit is literally happening across the street in another hotel. So my question to you guys is, why do planners need to know more about esports, and why do esports need to know about what's going on here, and why are you guys here versus over there?
I'm letting you have that one.
All right. Well, it's very easy to talk about esports in a room that already talks about themselves constantly. It's not sharing that information with people who also want to know about it is more important than being in that room. So that's kind of the reason why we're here. You have a whole industry full of professionals and destinations and meeting planners from across the globe that are in this space that wants to know about esports because they constantly hear about it. But they're not going to hear what will help them in the space over there. So we're here to share.
Well, and it's kind of funny too because right now, in the way that we look at it, we are actual hoteliers for 25 years. That I've been in the esports industry 9 years. Jamie kind of got thrown into it a couple years ago and has scars now with me. But we're really the only esports buyers in this industry, and so it's been kind of a weird Twilight Zone experience, and we realize that we need to have more support and we need to help build structure. So ironically, it just so happens that we have built a new company called Destination Esports. Imagine that.
I love it. And I'll give you guys a chance to definitely talk about that. I'm going to tease you guys a little bit of what that's all about.
Absolutely.
But super duper cool what you guys are doing. Well, real quick, we want to give everyone a quick update as far as what's going on with esports, what they need to know about. Tell us about what's hot right now. What do people need to know about when it comes to esports?
It feels like there's a lot of things that are changing always, but in esports, it's really funny because there is a challenge between doing things at a really high level, like a Fortnite World Cup or doing Call of Duty World League and seeing the changes that Activision's doing, and including Overwatch. And then you've got Apex, and you've got all these amazing games that are all over the place. And everything ever evolves in this industry. It's not status quo, ever. So the trends are becoming more where events are still happening. I think the community wants to be more in place of being able to do more at this point and not being kind of left out. And at the same time, you've got these bigger games that are trying to fulfill all of their requirements. So it's going to be a big 2020. What that unfolds to, we don't know yet, but it's going to start to really be exciting for these destinations to understand how to build a better ecosystem that's going to make sense for them.
So what do you mean by they want to do more? Because I think that sounds really exciting to every supplier in the events industry. What do you mean by they want to do more?
There's a lot more engagement, but the problem is that they're doing it just based on a venue and an event, and they're trying to get as many of those in based on the fact that January starts the new year and December ends it, and there's a lot of competition between January and December based on what game is doing what event, what time of the year. So you're going to see that there's a lot more games, there's a lot more opportunity, there's a lot more events that are going to probably happen next year, and you're going to see a lot of changes at the same time, like Activision and Blizzard doing Overwatch and Call of Duty in a different way. So there's going to be a lot of upheaval, a lot of excitement, a lot of things that are going to change, and it's going to be ever evolving as it goes. So
I love it. Jamie, what have you been seeing?
Well, I think ditto on that. But because there's so many different categories within the space, and the more that the industry, I don't want to say grows, the more that they structure themselves, the more opportunities there will be for destinations to get into the space, to look at what can be offered, to showcase their products to the esports industry that was never there before. So as the esports industry starts to structure and grow, they're going to need the suppliers and stuff to grow with them.
I like it. Well, it sounds really interesting too that you guys are talking about more events happening. It sounds like too that suppliers need to be ready to either do lots of them and duplicate it very, very fast, or also these destinations need to be prepared that there's going to be a lot of events coming in very, very quickly as well. So it sounds like there's going to be this really interesting challenge of a high volume of events in a short period of time. Am I mistaken in kind of that diagnosis?
A little bit, but it.
No, do it. Go for it.
A little bit, but the timing with esports is always very kind of last minute-y. Unlike a typical event, if you're playing a Google event, if you will, there's months leading into it, and they move on to the next one, and there's months leading into that. And with esports, there are times where you only have a few weeks to kind of plan it and execute.
Why do you think it's so last minute?
It's the structure internally with the companies that want to do the events, but they are starting to get into more of a flow as they grow and they mature in the epicness of what esports is kind of becoming. I think the industry grew so fast, the baseline wasn't there on the event side, so they were slowly kind of wild westing their way through the process to get to where they needed to be. And we're 2020, I think 2021, you're going to see a huge shift into, probably multiple year deals, multiple places. Things will be announced ahead of time, and it won't be a mad dash to kind of fill things out and get fans where they need to go. And,
awesome.
And that's just on the I like to call it the top 10% of the industry, not even the collegiate area or the other community-based situations as well.
And I'll add to that technology is playing a big role. There's a lot more startups that are trying to get into the esports category. A lot of them will try to produce their own smaller events. So you'll see kind of that coming aboard. I think 17 was based on a lot of the corporations that were buying out different, aspects of other gaming companies, and there was a lot of challenge and change in 17. 18 was kind of okay, now that we're going to keep you, what does that mean? And they've been building it out. 19's been kind of a flow, trying to figure out how well does it work, and I think 20 is going to explode because now they're starting to find that balance.
Awesome.
So
that's awesome. What other sort of stuff do you think that the meetings, incentives, convention, exhibition market needs to know when it comes to esports?
It's not what they think it is. They need to understand that in esports or competitive video gaming, there are four verticals that are based in this experience. Usually if you have a pharmaceutical, it's pharmaceutical. If you have corporate, it's corporate entertainment. Well, esports actually combines 4 verticals inside of this. It's corporate, entertainment, technology, and leisure. So the problem is that when you get a lead or you get something that comes to you, it's not black and white like they want it to be. It's very much a multi-tiered RFP that has multi-experiences that you need to address, or it fails miserably.
Oh.
And also, coming from that side, the formula is kind of the same for incentive, mice, and Smurf business when it comes to destinations, right? And the process is technically always the same. And destinations can't look at it like that because the timing's different, the packaging is different, the venue space needs to look different, the process is different, and a lot of times some of the esports side they don't even realize that they can build certain things in ballrooms. So you're selling something that you're using words that they don't even understand. You're taking a corporate conversation and trying to tailor it into a creative process, and that kind of backfires a little bit sometimes. So it is an education process on both sides, really.
Absolutely.
So when it comes to education, I have one last question, then I want you guys to get a chance to talk about the awesome company that you guys are starting. What's one term, maybe each or maybe together if you guys want, a term that esports community uses that the events people never heard of that you think that they need to know about? Like a random word, like you dream dropped a couple of the games. Like obviously knowing the games I think is important, but what's like one word you think that they need to know of?
From an esports perspective, they don't know the word hospitality. From a hotel perspective, they don't know the difference between a community event and a tournament event.
Oh, okay, cool. So we're going to keep everyone on teasing on that one because I think we're going to have to do definitely a lot of follow-up on this one to understand the differences between them. But really quickly in one sentence, what's the difference between a community event and a tournament event?
So community is more on the level of amateur and everyday player. And tournament is more your pro players and those who are going for actual cash prizes that are at a high level where they're being brought in because they've had to qualify.
Cool. I love it.
So
All right.
budgets are different. The process is different.
I love it. I love it. I'm sure everyone's like wheels are spinning hardcore, but you guys are the pros in this and have decided to create an awesome new company. So I want to give you guys a chance to share with that because I think a lot of people can learn from what you guys are doing right now. So I'm gonna give you guys a chance. Give us a self plug as far as the new company and what's going on.
Go for it.
Well, I think one of the biggest problems in the esports space is that there wasn't a conduit. There wasn't a middleman. There wasn't someone in the middle that could kind of pull all the strings.
And speak both languages.
And speak both languages. And kind of be like a one-stop process.
Tournament and hospitality.
Yeah. And so we're in the middle of creating Destination Esports, which is a full-service esports marketing agency. And we will take care of the esports side and events, and we will take care of the hospitality side and assist destinations in the space with representation and guidance and marketing and sales. And we will also, on the esports side, assist them with guiding them through the space, as well as allowing a full service approach to what everybody in this market wants. So it's not only access to the 10%, it's also helping all the 90% as well.
Yeah, and I think adding that too, I think the excitement is that we're neutral in this. We're not taking anybody's business away. We're actually here to support and enhance and create a cohesive collaboration. I always say it's not competitive anymore, it's collaborative.
We're the translators. I like
Yeah.
that. I just thought about that.
I love it. Well, Kim, Jamie, it's always a pleasure to see you both, and thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, sir.
We wish you definitely good luck, and we can't wait to have you guys back on the show to give updates and tell what's going on in the esports world.
Will do.
Honored.
Thank you.
All right, so everybody stay tuned for some more event icons coming up right after this.